Yes, I have received a letter listing the conditions. They include a public debate with the media, with the president. They include the president probing me and asking me any questions that he so wishes. And they also include the requirement to take an oath. I have explained to the government in a letter which was sent to the government yesterday that those three conditions contravene the code of conduct that I have to abide by as a special rapporteur. And let me highlight a few reasons why those conditions are inconsistent with the code of conduct. The first one, I think, is the necessity of building trust, the necessity of private contact with people in the context of a mission. These trusts need to be earned. It needs to be maintained. It needs to be reinforced. I cannot build trust, including with the police or with the government, if there is a threat of public debate at the end of the mission. There is matters of high confidentiality, which I will be reviewing, sensitive matters regarding ongoing investigation, regarding alleged victims and alleged perpetrators. There are principles of due process, principles of presumption of innocence. All of those are at the heart of the work of a special rapporteur, and I cannot do anything that could violate those key principles. And then there is a necessity of respect for the life, respect for the loss of life, respect for the victims, respect for the police, respect for the families. For all these reasons, I cannot engage in a public debate over matters which touch to those people's life and respect. I am bound to conduct a standardized assessment. I am not bound to engage into a politicized debate.
So, Ms.
And if I may, I have made a suggestion to the government.
Okay.
I have suggested to them that following a private debriefing with the president, that we should then have a joint press conference where he should feel free to rebut or to agree or disagree with my preliminary findings. And allow me again to also highlight the fact that after a weak investigation, all I can produce are preliminary findings, and these cannot be the object of a public debate.
All right. So I understand, ma'am, that you have informed the Philippine government that you are not open to that public debate and among the other conditions, but you are open to a private debriefing and a joint press conference after your time here in the Philippines. So if they
absolutely,
yeah, so if they agree,
and I
yes.
also allow me to add also that there was this bizarre demand that I take an oath. Again, this demand contradicts the code of conduct. I am not supposed to accept any instructions from anybody, including the government. I am not undertaking a judicial or quasi-judicial process. I have already given an oath and a pledge when I was appointed by the 48 member states of the Human Rights Council. I have pledged to perform my duties and exercise my functions from a completely impartial, loyal, and independent standpoint. And truthfully, this is a pledge, and I have already given this pledge. I cannot give an oath to the government or to anyone else. This will undermine the probity, the impartiality, and the independence, which are at the heart of my mandate. These are the explanations I have given to the government, and I trust that they will review thoroughly my letter and agree to proceed on the basis of the code of conduct of the special rapporteur.
Okay, so Ms. Callamard, while we're waiting for what the Philippine government, what their response would be, what's your take on the drug killings happening in the country? Now, the government has said that there are no extrajudicial killings here, but only extra-legal killings. Is there a difference? How would you define extrajudicial killings versus extra-legal killings?
Well, I have no idea what the government means by extra-legal killings. I can assure you that there is an international standard regarding extrajudicial, summary or arbitrary killings, and these are basically deaths of people that have occurred outside a judicial process. And any death at the end of a state, meaning any death caused by the state, is in and by itself a possible extrajudicial killing. In order to determine whether that killing is indeed extrajudicial, there are a number of steps that must be taken. Now, those steps have been the object of international standard setting, including the Code of Conduct for Law Enforcement Officials and the basic principles on the use of force and firearms by law enforcement officials. Allow me to highlight the fact that these code of conduct are among the international standards that have been the most agreed, debated, and that there is a near universal consensus on those guidelines. And basically, there is only one key thing that I should highlight here for the purpose of our conversation: investigation. We can determine whether any death by the state is extrajudicial or not in the absence of an investigation.
Okay, now the Philippine Senate's investigation on the killings concluded that though there have been thousands of killings with impunity taking place every year in the Philippines, there is no evidence that there is a state-sponsored policy to commit any killings. Will the investigations already pursued or carried out by local officials on the war on drugs have any bearing on your investigation?
You're making two different points, and they are very important. The first, so allow me to make a distinction here. According to the reports from the Philippine National Police, there has been close to 6,000 unlawful deaths since July 1st. Of those, there is about 2,100 killings that have been attributed to the police. As far as I know, as far as I have read, these deaths at the hand of the police have not been the object of individual investigation. And it's therefore impossible to determine whether any of those deaths are indeed extrajudicial. They need to be investigated.
Okay. Lastly,
now, there are investigations, but they concern the unlawful death in unexplained circumstances, and you know, some have alleged that these are deaths at the end of death squads. These are the object of an investigation, and it is very good. But the other deaths, the deaths at the end of the police, should also be the object of an investigation.
Now, just to clarify, just to sum it all up, Ms. Callamard, what really many are wondering and many are wanting to find out from you, so will you be visiting the Philippines next year to conduct these investigations?
I am absolutely committed to come to the Philippines in a spirit of dialogue, constructive dialogue with the government and with other stakeholders. I am committed to offer my expertise, to offer the expertise of others that have been involved in this kind of situations. So it is in the hands of the government now to refer back to my letter to them, to the Code of Conduct that should guide the mission of all special rapporteurs. And I trust the government fully in its review of this, and I hope indeed that I will be able to come to the Philippines and undertake this investigation.
Thank you so much, Ms. Agnes Callamard, for taking your time to take our call. Thank you so much. Again, that was UN Special Rapporteur Agnes Callamard.